Today's episode is about Hayao Miyazaki's 2008 film Ponyo. This story follows the life of Sosuke and his rescue of a trapped goldfish that he names Ponyo. This is an adventure film for sure. We get to follow the journey of the ever-changing bond between two unexpected beings, and we get to watch their love and growth.
Welcome to our first Hayao Miyazaki film. I feel like we're probably going to do a series on a lot of them, so we're going to start with Ponyo.
Lindsay has been slowly indoctrinating me into the world of Miyazaki, and she's an angel for it because so far, 4 out of 4, loved them all.
That's great because I have no idea what you think of Ponyo. Still haven't told me.
I fucking loved it. I thought it was so cute. She's so adorable and lovable, and I thought it was literally like a fish out of water story, so that was super relatable. But yeah, I think now that I've seen a few, I'm starting to pick up on some like themes of Miyazaki movies. I see like the cute old ladies. I see um how there's always like a fantasy element, like it's very like supernatural. But I thought this movie was so cute. It feels like it's one of the more, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but it feels like it's more one of the more childish of his that I've seen. The main characters are very young. The actors portraying them are very young. Is that something you've picked up on? Is there other examples of that?
Yeah, I think that Ponyo is definitely one of the more playful of Miyazaki's films. We're gonna have to say this for every single podcast that we do on his film, but I feel like there's always a much deeper message that he's like trying to speak for. And Ponyo, it does have to do with water and land.
Mm-hmm.
So this was like the first time I watched it where I wasn't just like enjoying the film, like I was actually breaking it down.
And looking for the deeper message.
Yeah. A lot of consumption and greed, I would say.
Nail on the head. Yep. I noticed definitely like a pro nature, pro like a I noticed an environmental tone to the movie, and about protecting the earth, which I think I noticed also in The Boy and the Heron as well. Like has a lot to do with like wildlife and protecting it. And I just watched Princess Mononoke for the first time, and that whole movie is about protecting nature and then in turn nature protecting you. So I think, yeah, it's safe to say Miyazaki is an environmental bro, and we salute him for it.
I think some of his films could be taken a little like politically motivated or charged, but very discreetly.
Right, like under the surface. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was looking it up and I don't know how Miyazaki really like stands politically, but I'm guessing on the left. But I did see that he does not support Marxism.
Interesting. Okay.
But I would say somewhere on the left.
I see what you're saying.
Did you get a chance to pick up on any of the voice actors?
I feel like I have no short-term memory because the opening credits tell you who's in the movie, and then like halfway through I'm still like, "Oh my god, like whoa."
Oh, that's my favorite part. Oh my god, what are you doing here?
I was like an hour into this movie before I was like, "Liam Neeson?" I didn't realize.
For me, it was Betty White.
Bitch,
Betty White, what are you doing here?
Betty, what are you doing here?
And then Tina Fey, like, oh, okay.
Tina, I picked up on right away. Like Tina, I heard it, immediately recognized her as the mom character, Lisa. But Betty White, for some reason, I wasn't picturing. I don't know what it was. I couldn't put her voice to the image. And the same with Liam Neeson. I was flabbergasted when I realized it was him. It was late into the movie, and I was
love Liam Neeson.
He's excellent in this. I feel like he has like a history of doing kind of like overbearing, maybe controlling kind of helicopter father characters, if you look at like Taken or Love Actually or Ponyo and a lot of his movies in his later part of his career, I feel like he's very like protective dad, not always overbearing. That might be the wrong word, but definitely protective father figure who's always like right on top of his kids, trying to like fix things or like save things. So that was like my biggest revelation from the voice credits was realizing, oh shit, it's Liam Neeson in this movie. But I did want to ask you, like, when the first time you saw this, did you watch the dub or the sub?
I think it was the dubbed the
Interesting.
first time I watched it.
Yeah, for me also, just so I could take notes because this was my first time seeing it, I watched the dubbed version, but I am interested in going back and watching the subtitled version because I just like to hear things in their native language. Like when we saw The Boy and the Heron,
Yeah.
we saw we saw it in Japanese. We saw Spirited Away in Japanese as well.
I think it's also really important to say, just in general, I think if you're going to watch a movie in a different language, you should be watching it with the English subtitles and not like a dubbed version,
I agree.
because you're going to miss out on a lot of like the actual like language and verbiage of the film.
Yeah, and there's nuance to the original language that we're not always picking up on. I mean, there's complete, phrases and idioms that are in the original language that audiences aren't always aware of.
I know there's Squid Games. Did you watch that?
Actually didn't. Oh my god, it's so funny you say that because people have been on my ass about not watching
I
Squid
can't
Game for
believe you haven't seen it.
here we go again. For
Well, I mean, if you watch it, you would know why people are saying that.
bitch, I'm gonna watch it. I've just been busy for the last 3 years.
But that's a good example because like a lot of the messages in that show were really missed when you were like watching the dubbed version.
Interesting. Yeah, I almost never do, but for Miyazaki movies, I think I'm 50-50 at this point. I've seen 2 in Japanese, 2 English dubbed. I do plan on going back and watching them in their original language just cuz I also watch quite a few movies in Japanese. Not that I understand it or speak it really, but I like to hear the language if that makes sense. Did you watch Shogun earlier this year, the TV series?
No.
Oh, it's beautiful. I think Shogun was one of the best cases for not watching things dubbed because I'll tell you what, they are talking so fast and the dialogue is so beautiful and the writing is so strong that and the characters are so engaging. I would put my phone down for the whole entire episode, like an hour straight where I'm like not looking at my phone at all because if you're looking at your phone, you can't read what they're saying. I think it's a good exercise in paying attention to what you're watching as well.
Yeah, it's a really good way for those of us who have a very short attention span. Like it forces you
It's good
to pay
training.
attention. Yeah. I really like I think any of the Miyazaki films I've seen in theaters, I've seen the subbed version, which is really awesome.
Yeah, we've seen 2 together subtitled at the Alamo Draft House, but I also saw one English dub at AMC recently, Whisper of the Heart. Have you seen that one?
Mm-mm.
Aw, I think you'd really like that one. It's a quick rundown. It's like a story about another fish out of water story where this like young girl is like kind of a nerd outcast and she befriends this like kid who's new to the school and they have like this really like innocent like romance and it's all based around like songwriting and making music together and stuff. It's so cute. it's very touching. I saw that on a first date. Was that our first date?
Wow. Movie first date. I hate those. Worst thing ever.
Why?
Because I'm gonna be like that the whole time. Just looking in the corner of my eye at you.
Okay, listeners, do not take Lindsay to the movies for a first date. I mean, I know a lot of people are anti that because you can't talk and you can't look at each other, but I think that's kind of the appeal for me. So
One time I had a first movie date. We went and saw Saltburn, not knowing at all what was about to happen, and it was awful. A nightmare.
that is literally listen, we are very anti Saltburn on this pod.
Yeah.
Apparently that's an unpopular opinion. I thought that movie fucking sucked. But
So bad.
but anyway, yeah, that is definitely not a first date movie. That's unhinged. I'm so sorry.
We got outside and then just immediately was like, all right, good night.
Lord, because what do you say after you've seen? I don't even want to get into it. I don't want to sully this innocent pod with with Saltburn content.
Maybe a different episode though, not on this Ponyo.
Not on our Ponyo. So why did you pick this movie to discuss? What's your history with it?
I think it was the first Miyazaki film where I watched it and I immediately was just like, I'm Ponyo. Ponyo is me.
Aww.
I love Ponyo. I think it like the character of Ponyo. I just love her.
She's so playful. She's so earnest too, and she's a really good friend. So I think I do see a lot of like similarities there. When's the first time you saw this movie?
Honestly, not that long ago. Probably maybe like 5 years ago.
Oh wow, okay. See, I was watching it thinking because of the age gap. This movie came out when I was 20, so you would have been like 8 or 9, something like that.
Yeah, I
thought it
don't
was a
think I
childhood
watched
movie.
it. No, I don't think I watched it as a kid. Just 5 years ago.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. That actually gives me that is very surprising. That gives me a completely different read on it then cuz I'm looking at it as if oh, this is a movie that meant a lot to her when she was a little kid.
No, well, I don't think I ever saw it when I was younger.
Whoa.
But
so the first time you saw it was in your like late teens, early 20s.
yeah, early. Yeah, I think I might have been 20 maybe.
Whoa, okay. That's that just blew my mind. Oh, I'm learning so much about you. Again, she's playful and a good friend.
Okay,
So why do you relate to her?
I don't really think I do relate to her that much. I think I just like her.
Oh,
And I like if I could be a little fish, I would just want to be Ponyo. Maybe I am like her though. I haven't really thought about it that much. I think again, other than watching it for the podcast, I never like looked at it through the lens like I'd be like critiquing it or like wanting to talk like substantially about it.
Yeah. Your history is recent with it. So for me, this was I think I've said already, but this was a first watch for me. I didn't see any Miyazaki movies until Lindsay took me to my first one, which was Spirited Away. And that was what, a year ago? A year and a half ago? I want to say that was
A little over a year ago, maybe.
We're going to look that up. I want to say it was last summer. Because we saw Boy and the Heron last winter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what we have Letterboxd for. Perfect time to plug our Letterboxd.
We should definitely do Talented Mr. Ripley.
Ooh, yeah, we're spoiler alert, we're definitely spoiler alert, we're definitely gonna do Talented Mr. Ripley. We're gonna do our whole top 4. So yeah, for those of you who are not cool enough to be on Letterboxd, you list every movie you've seen, log when you've seen it. You can review it if you want to, rate it, all of that, and it's a good social app as well. So we have our own personal ones if you want to follow those, but then the film podcast one is called Post Film Clarity, all one word, and that's on the app Letterboxd. And right now, our top four are The Talented Mr. Ripley, Anatomy of a Fall, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Amelie, which we just covered. So I think the plan is to definitely cover all of these at some point throughout the pod, because they're shared loves of ours and shared favorites. And we've seen
Anatomy of a Fall.
Yeah.
God. Another French film.
It is, yes.
Wow.
We've seen
I really like French films.
Me too. Definitely. Actually, Letterboxd, my personal one, I can see all of my statistics, and the foreign language films I watch the most are French and Japanese.
Wow.
Look at that.
Letterboxd gives you the opportunity of life to be the movie critic you never thought you could be.
Exactly.
And you get to be funny.
Yeah. People, we do not discuss this enough. People on Letterboxd are so
funny.
Anytime I watch a movie, the first thing I do is I wait until after I've seen it, but I do go through and check like other people's reviews, and I just cackle through every comment section looking for like some real bangers. Ours aren't really that funny, but
What? My Letterboxd are funny.
I meant ours as in our joint account. No, individually we're hilarious. Yeah. Okay, so we found it. We watched it on August 5th of last year. So that was a late summer movie. So until 2023, your girl had never seen a Miyazaki movie. And I feel a tad embarrassed, but also more so excited because there's dozens of movies that I now get to fall in love with, that there's just such a huge library, and I've never.
Yeah, a big animation hater over here.
Ooh, okay, listen, don't do. Damn, not her calling me out on mic.
I think I've had a great influence on getting you into animation because
Definitely agree. You and Kate specifically. Kate sat me down and made me watch Spirit Stallion. I can't even pronounce it. What is it? Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron?
I just always say
Spirit. Anyway, I cried through like 2/3 of it. So yeah, you could say your girl is getting into animation very late in life, but there's time to change and grow and learn new things and appreciate new types of art and new types of stories. So that's what I'm doing.
Like, even though that is the case, it's also really cool that you get to like experience animations for the first time, like as an adult.
I know. I've had such a good time with it. I'm also, on top of Miyazaki, I'm also making my way through a lot of Pixar that I never saw.
Oh my god.
I know.
Wait, we need to talk about what
girl.
Pixars you haven't seen.
Oh no, it gets
Oh my god.
it's stressful. People get so mad.
I won't get mad.
Don't get mad at me. I've never seen Ratatouille.
Wow.
I've never seen Cars.
Have you seen Monsters University?
No.
Have you seen Monsters Inc?
Yes. I love Monsters Inc. I've never seen Wall-E.
Wow. That's like, I think kind of insulting.
I know. Yeah, there's a lot of Pixar I've missed.
That's okay though.
I have so much to catch up on.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the last 2 Toy Stories. I'm so far behind.
Have you seen? Oh my god. Let me look up this.
Fucking love FernGully.
Oh, okay. So you have seen FernGully?
Oh yeah, that came out when I was 4 years old. You kidding me? I own that on cassette tape. Or not cassette. No. I've definitely. Oh my god, FernGully is one of my favorite movies.
Really?
Yes, bitch.
How many are there?
I only acknowledge one. I think there's 2 or 3, but
one of my favorites from when I was younger.
Same.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I think there's some bootleg sequels that I do not acknowledge. So
Okay, so it's probably this one, just Last Rainforest.
Mhm. Yes, that. You know what's funny you bring up FernGully because I found some similarities I feel between FernGully and Ponyo.
Oh, how so?
Because there's like a cute girl character who's like interacting with like a mortal who is trying to get him to like basically communicate with the other humans like, hey, you're destroying our our homeland, which in their case is a rainforest. In this case it's an ocean. um and now the ocean is kind of like fighting back at you. And it's like a really innocent kind of wholesome love story as well between, I think it's Krista and I don't remember the lead guy's name, but I thought there was some similarities there and like that undertone of like environmental conservation.
Yeah, both characters having a very magical, like feminine power too.
Yeah. Um so what were the overarching themes of this movie, do you feel? Because I had some notes on what I noticed besides what we've already talked about.
I think that a true emphasis on food and like the beauty of food.
Food. How have we gotten this far in the pod, a Miyazaki pod at that, and not talked about the food? He is he makes every meal and everything I've seen look so damn appealing. Like,
Warm and just you like
hearty, and the presentation is always beautiful and it looks so, it's cartoony but it looks so tangible still. Especially in this movie, that bowl of noodles,
yeah.
that first bowl of noodles that they feed Ponyo when she comes to the house.
Yeah, that's I think those are important themes in this film were soup,
Yep.
honey and tea, and then of course ham.
Yes, the ham.
Probably the most important one.
She is obsessed with ham.
She's a ham girl.
Do you like ham?
I do like ham.
I'm very on and off with it. I'm on ham right now though. I think I had it recently for the first time in a long time and I was like, "Oh, ham's fucking good."
Ham is delicious. Ham, like the cheapest ham in that little like rink-a-dink bag is the best ham ever. And when I was younger, that was the only type of like lunch meat that I would eat.
Interesting. Oh, so you were a ham and cheese girly.
Yeah. Ham and mayo
Ooh,
and cheese.
wow. No, I did not fuck with a ham sandwich.
I still love a ham sandwich.
Oh, no, I was a turkey. Turkey and Swiss.
Maybe this is why I like Ponyo. Because I was a ham girl.
You are a ham sandwich girl.
I am a ham sandwich.
Just the human embodiment.
Just a ham sandwich.
I'm dead. So what were some other what was the other main theme that you wanted to point out?
Well, consumerism and greed.
Interesting.
Although Ponyo was experiencing the food for the first time, very much like a desire for more and kind of and like unsatisfaction with even what she was being given and almost like a greed.
Yeah, it was never enough.
Yeah.
Interesting. She was insatiable. I didn't even notice it though because I feel like a lot of kids are like that with food. They're very like more, 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 more.
Yeah, that's true.
Even when they're not hungry. So I think I was looking at it as a little kid finding their hyperfixation meal.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely it definitely does represent a greediness to her character. And
Well, with the ham, she was so greedy with the ham. She like ate all of it immediately from Sosuke's sandwich
yes.
and then ate all of it immediately with the soup. I don't know if this is just me reaching in the stars, but
Reach for the stars.
the food groups in this movie, it's like meat industry, dairy industry, honey, which have really, really awful impacts on the environment.
Ooh, that's deep. I didn't even pick up on that. Like I said, I missed the honey thing completely. I don't know where I was.
Do not want to ruin the movie, but I was on some weird type of kick.
You're like, again with the you have the map on the wall with the red strings, and you're like connecting all the dots of this industry.
It's kind of ruined it for me because I love Ponyo. But to jump
no.
right into it, the next point, Ponyo flooded an entire town just because of the greed that she was experiencing.
Okay, was it greed or was it love?
I don't know. Maybe it was love. A love for what she was being offered.
Definitely is the type to we're making so many water puns. She definitely is the type to dive headfirst.
Plunge, if you will.
That was very clever. She plunges headfirst, yes, into this budding relationship. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was greed or if it was love or if it was just such a obsession with escaping the ocean and escaping her family that led her to manipulate the waters into flooding this whole town. Yeah, she was really reckless. But again, I just cracked that up to she's a little kid.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they, like 8 in this movie?
She was also a goldfish.
She was also right. She's not a little kid.
She was a goldfish.
She's a fucking fish.
When one of the first times, maybe like the second or third time I saw this movie, I was watching it with someone, and they were so convinced that she wasn't a goldfish but a salamander.
Why?
I don't know, but I think I just need everyone to know that because I would not stop laughing. Like, how do you get a salamander from? I don't know. I don't even know.
Not for they don't have fins. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean salamander? That's embarrassing.
What I can tell you is how much goldfish sales have skyrocketed. And Ponyo was a goldfish.
Wait a minute.
Is it clicking for you?
Oh. I did not even think of this.
Sosuke found her in a jar in the ocean that washed up on shore. And then he kept her as a goldfish.
But he loved her. We'll get to that. But he loved her in all of her forms. But yeah, so you went real like conspiratorial with it.
I don't know what happened, but I was just like, goldfish, consumerism.
Lindsay's like, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this, and I'm like, they're in love.
Because that's how I've always watched the movie. But for some reason, as soon as I was like, okay, we're watching this for the podcast, what type of craziness can my brain come up with?
Yeah, you went like full critique.
Well, I think this might just be what Miyazaki is trying to tell us and teach children, maybe.
I think this movie does have a lot of big lessons for children to learn, for sure. I guess in adults too, because we both saw this as adults. Some themes that I picked up on were acceptance, acts of service, which we haven't talked about yet, but the way throughout this movie, Sosuke's mother, Lisa, is always in service. She's in a service career. She takes care of old folks at a nursing home. She takes care of him. She takes care of the house while Sosuke's father is away working. She is a caregiver as like a career and also as a role within the family. And it's really beautiful to see how her son picks up on that. And did you notice how often he's modeling his mother's behavior of, I need to go help these people. I need to go fix this situation. I need to go get in my boat and feed people. Like I could cry. It's so touching to see when children pick up positive behaviors from their parents and like acts of service and generosity and being so inviting to Ponyo when she was a fish, when she was a girl, throughout the whole movie. I feel like this little boy was so giving, and it was just so nice to see a boy, like a male character, be gentle and be accepting and be loving and be nurturing. I don't feel like a lot of male characters, especially in Western animation, really fit that bill. I mean, especially not when we were growing up. It's different now. I feel like they have gotten more gentle and kind, but I loved Sosuke's character, and I thought he was so. I feel like he's a kid who picked up on the right lessons within his family, within his structure, and how much he loved the old ladies and visiting with them. He loved his teachers. Like he was just such a good kid. He's
I
such a good kid.
Yeah, he was so happy to have a friend too.
Uh uh yeah.
And I don't, because there was kind of an emphasis that either he didn't like the friends that he had at the school, or like
He
they
seemed
just weren't his cup of tea.
he seemed really lonely. And he was an only child, and I could definitely relate because at this age I was also an only child. Um and didn't really fuck with other kids at school and lived like on the outskirts of town with a bunch of animals actually. So I related to him. I wasn't as gentle as him at all. I was a fucking menace, quite frankly, as a child, but it is what it is. But I would strive to be and would strive to have people in my life like Sosuke. If I was that age, if I was in like third grade, I would definitely want him to be my friend.
Oh, can you imagine having a best friend like
Oh
that?
my god, he's amazing.
So nice.
Ugh. He and I think again that leads back to Lisa, his mother's character, because she is so accepting as well. Hitting that theme of acceptance. She lets this girl, a complete stranger, into her house, feeds her, clothes her, lets her live with her, just no questions asked. She's like, you need help, you need care. I'm gonna give it to you.
I think, kind of looking at it from Ponyo's unhinged behavior, I think Lisa and Sosuke were exactly who Ponyo needed. Like, I think the whole film is about her, wanting to be human and the transformation of her growth and being introduced into a family like them who does have strong values of kindness.
They're so loyal too.
I think the most interesting character to me was Ponyo's dad, Fujimoto. He was human. Do you
Yeah, I okay.
So
So
he was human
I
and
had
now he
qu-
hates
I had
humans.
questions about this. So not to be crass, but was he like fucking a sea witch?
I think so.
Okay, so her father is a human man. I could not figure that out. I was like, is he a wizard? But then,
I think maybe he is a wizard.
but he had the helmet on when he came out of the water. So I was like, oh, he can't live in the ocean naturally. He's a person. It took me like the whole movie to figure out his deal. So he's a person who hates people and chose to live in the sea.
Yeah, I don't really think we get very much context, but I think this just routes back to my theme of greed.
Ooh, okay. So you think Fujimoto was greedy in what sense? What was his like? I would say he seemed kind of. I wouldn't know. I don't know if I'd call it greed necessarily, but there was definitely. He's very controlling.
Yeah, I think it's maybe out of protection, like knowing. Well, I think he hates humans because he knows like their capabilities and like what Ponyo would be susceptible to by becoming human.
Yeah, a lot of danger because in that opening scene, she's trapped in a fishing net and then stuck in a glass jar and washes up to sea because of the boats scraping through the sea and catching all of the debris and also all of the fish that are in the water. And I think he reminded me of Ariel's father and the Little Mermaid. Very big, like King Triton or King Trident. King Triton?
King Triton?
Yeah.
I think Trident is gum.
He holds a trident. He holds a trident. King Triton. Anyway, he had big King Triton energy. Very like protective, and none of my daughters are ever leaving the sea, and don't go to the surface, and don't interact with men. It is a lot of similarities with the Little Mermaid now that I think of it. Also changing to get legs to be able to go out of the water to
I loved that part where her little twig
when
little
her little
chicken legs
when
popped
her little
out.
legs sprouted.
Oh my god, it was so cute. But
He was pissed.
I think Ponyo's dad kind of had a message of look what like land turned Ponyo into.
Ooh.
And I mean, when she wanted to go back to Earth, she literally created a tsunami.
She did.
And I think it's kind of like this is what happens when you try and alter nature, which is the dad like not allowing Ponyo to continue her journey of becoming human because all she was doing was trying to escape him.
Yeah, she definitely, once she went to the surface that first time and initially met Sosuke, she did seem to become a lot more destructive. And I think her father was picking up on that energy, that like destructive nature of man. But he's a man himself, so it's also hypocritical. Like, oh, you're the only man who's allowed to.
Yeah, because he was still like having some rage.
Oh yeah,
He was like pretty bitter.
he was super angry, and very manipulative and not straightforward with why he wanted Ponyo to stay a goldfish and why he was so fearful of people discovering or people traveling into the sea. I felt like his methods were he's like a very good embodiment of like good intentions of a parent, but poor execution and like kind of damaging unintentionally, I feel. But he did seem like he just couldn't accept, again, acceptance. He couldn't accept that Ponyo didn't want to be a goldfish. And then when her mother finally shows up and is like, let her go, he's like, I mean, I guess, but I felt like it was very hard for him to relinquish control.
What do you think happened with Ponyo's dad and mom?
That is such a weird romance. I was very confused, not confused, but I was just very intrigued by when she shows up, and you could tell she's like coming to like put her ex in place basically. She's like, bro, you got to settle down. Like you got to let this girl go.
Ponyo's mom represents the goddess of mercy.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's interesting. I am not very well versed or educated in a lot of Japanese mythologies, so I think there is lots of layers to Miyazaki's movies that I just like culturally do not understand, because I don't know a lot of that mythology or those characters. So that's super interesting, and it does add like a deeper meaning to uh, Ponyo's mother's character within this story, because she is a merciful character. She shows up basically to make peace between Ponyo and Fujimoto. So that's like a really interesting layer of the storytelling that they put in there.
I think Ponyo and Sosuke kind of had to give each other a lot of mercy. They started off on their journey together, and Ponyo increased the size of his boat.
It's like a little toy boat that she turns into like a boat-sized boat.
Yeah.
With magic that I don't even know if she knew she had.
She had the magic of the ocean.
Yeah, that's true. All you need is the ocean magic,
That's all
but
you need.
solves everything. Um, but yeah, I felt like a lot of her magic was not really explained, like how she's just able to talk when she's still a fish, how she grows limbs out of nowhere, then she grows teeth, then she's breathing out of the water, then she makes this boat grow in size, this little toy. I just think she's such a interesting creature because it's one of the few times an animated movie doesn't go into all the like lore and history of why she's magic or explain very directly and like straightforwardly what her magical abilities are. I feel like that's pretty rare in children's media, especially to not spell it out note for note, word for word. This is exactly what she can and can't do and why and when and all that. It was just like they're they're just like figure it out.
She's just existing. She's just existing, and she's like, I'm here to be human. You don't need to know anything else.
She just wanted it bad enough and she woke up and she's like, I'm a human now.
Give me ham.
Give me give me ham, please. Um I think my favorite scene is definitely I it came kind of late in the movie because I thought I had a favorite scene at first. I was going to talk about the soup the first time they all have that meal together, but I think it's actually the boat trip. That's what I wrote with just a bunch of exclamation marks was the boat trip. I loved that scene. I thought it was so it just made me feel like a kid again. Just wishing so badly that I did have magic like Matilda or, you know, someone like that where I could just make things fly around the room or make things change sizes. I thought it was so full of wonder and so I don't know if it's inspirational is the word I'm looking for, but it was just like, damn, I wish even me as, you know, like a 36-year-old adult was like, damn, I wish I could do that. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, they made the most of that flood.
Yeah.
I mean, although Ponyo created the flood, it was necessary for her growth development.
Mhm. But then they use the boat to go feed people and go help people and go look for his mother.
So my favorite scene was also on their boat journey. So they run into a couple and their baby, and Ponyo and Sosuke ride up, and eventually the baby starts crying, and Ponyo jumps up into like a hybrid human and fish vibe and just like pushes her head up against with the babies, and then she runs off with her little chicken legs. And it's so cute. She like is hopping off on the water right back into the boat.
Running on water on her. She looks like a half baby like chick, half fish, half human. I don't even know, but yeah, she turns into this little weird creature and just quickly like floats on the water to like nuzzle this baby. It's so cute. Yes, that is a big part of why I love that boat trip scene so much. That's so funny that we had the same scene. That's actually incredible. I feel like that happens a lot though. Like we tend to point out like similar or be touched by similar
That's what I was gonna say.
well, I said it first, so
I think with that scene specifically though was like a big pivot in Ponyo's growth because it showed like a lot of her finally growing into like human values, and especially the mother kind of having to teach Ponyo
sharing and manners and giving like being generous with people. Yeah. I think that is such a great little scene that shows that she is picking up like Sosuke is the right lessons and modeling after really good adult. There's just like great adult characters in this movie. All four of them are so interesting and
Lisa is a badass.
yeah, oh, I love her. I meant to bring her up earlier, but I didn't. But yeah, I just put Tina Fey as mom and a bunch of exclamation points because I just thought she felt so real.
Yeah.
She felt a lot like my mom. My mom was a nurse growing up and worked in nursing homes and was busy all the time, single mom, and just she felt so full of life and so full of devotion. I thought it was one of Tina Fey's best performances. Actually, she just felt like just like a real mom, you know, just like a real woman. I keep just saying I agree, and that's so interesting, and I have to stop because like everything I'm responding to is just I agree or that's interesting. But I do agree. So yeah, let me let me redo my response.
I agree. You know what's interesting about that? You know what's interesting? I agree with that.
My verbal tics are coming out.
I don't know. We can keep it going, but I feel like I need to tell this story.
Ooh.
So when I first started living on my own, I met someone off Craigslist, and he was a cool dude. He was a writer. He was older, like 75.
Oh, okay.
But one day I came home and I don't think my roommates heard me, and I heard them talking about me downstairs, and they were just like, "Oh yeah, she's really sweet, but she says yeah a lot." They did not know.
Jesus.
And I think I've thought about that every single day
That would
since.
be my 13th reason.
So now I can, and I do say yeah a lot. I do. And now I never can say yeah without thinking about how much I say yeah.
Oh no. I hate when you suddenly become hyper aware of things you say all the time. I think editing this show has made me realize how much I say certain things, and it's very, very fucking irritating. We're trying to do better. We're trying to expand our vocabularies and our speech patterns to not bore you to tears and also annoy the hell out of ourselves while we make
I
this
just
show.
said it again. Yeah. I'm trying to sound educated.
Yeah, so I'm just getting super silly and I don't remember anything that I said.
I know I wanted to get silly.
Oh fuck. Okay.
I provoked you. Yeah, anyways.
Jesus Christ. So what were you talking about? You were talking about Lisa and then oh
Wait, what was my
it was something about
I think we oh god, what were we talking
oh, bro, I can't even remember. Yikes, this is gonna be a nightmare to edit this part. It's gonna be like 10 minutes of us being like, yeah, like, what did you say?
I have to pee again. Oh my god.
So before we go, I did fuck, Lindsay! I had it!
Oh god. I just thought about it.
Don't think!
Okay. No thoughts.
No thoughts. Head empty. No thoughts. So before we go, I think I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Okay.
It's so hot in here.
In an alternate reality, we're just forced here until we finish.
No, please don't say that. Oh my god. Literally padded walls, bitch. Oh. Ooh. I'm getting goofy.
Ponyo is a must-see for a cold evening one day, and you should have soup.
That I was gonna say, are you saying cold weather because of the soup and the tea? And yes, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like any Miyazaki movie is good for like a cool or cold weather watch, but especially Ponyo.
Yeah.
Before we head out, I did forget to hit on the fact that what really affected me on a first watch about this movie emotionally was, like I said, I felt so in touch with my my childhood self, and a big part of that was the fact that I used to really think, and I used to really think, and I still do think that I could talk to animals when I was a kid.
Mm.
I lived on a little farm.
Did you wait? Did you like Doctor Dolittle?
Oh, I loved, yeah. I was obsessed.
Me too.
My mom used to call me Dr. Doolittle. I would be outside like chirping with the birds and like clucking with the chickens, and like I would literally go around and like talk to all the farm animals that we had out in my grandmother's house where I lived. I was a weird fucking kid, and I was like, if I could just connect with all of these animals and get them to listen to me, and I want to listen to them and I want to connect with them. Um, I think that what happens throughout this movie between like Sosuke and Ponyo is my childhood like dream come true, to befriend wild creature and have it like turn into a human and be my best friend. That's like all I wanted, I think, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I found this story so moving because it really hit 8-year-old me like square in the chest, like that little girl who would just be outside talking to animals and like, oh man, maybe one day they'll come to life and like be my friend or like talk back, you know. Oh, when she spoke for the first time and his eyes got all wide, bitch, I started tearing up. I was jealous.
I really loved how Sosuke how Sosuke just immediately knew it was Ponyo. And then how the mom just didn't even question it. She's like, all right.
I guess she lives here now.
Yeah.
Are you hungry? I love that too. I think it's a great movie for unconditional love. I think that's a big overarching theme of this movie is friendship and unconditional love.
Yeah, I think acceptance was a really big one too. That was a good pull.
Thank you. Um, so earlier I know I had compared this a little bit to The Little Mermaid. Another recommendation I have, if you're looking for a similar vibe, or especially if you're showing children these movies for the first time, it doesn't have to be children, but just say you are. I thought a lot about Finding Nemo during this movie, especially the beginning part with the big school of fish and like the like protect
Ponyo's little sisters, so cute.
so freaking cute. There's like 100 of them and they all work together to literally lift up their sister. So beautiful. So yeah, I definitely thought of Finding Nemo a lot. And did you see Luca?
No, I have not.
Luca is a newer Pixar movie that I actually have seen thanks to one of my childhood best friends. Bridget showed me that movie. Um, and that is a story of an Italian boy who goes down to the like coastline and befriends a boy who used to be a fish.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
it's like Boy Ponyo. It's Ponyo for boys. So yeah, I definitely recommend Finding Nemo and Luca. I didn't mean for them both to be Pixar, but that's just what I came up with. What do you think do you have any recommendations or movies with similar themes that would pair well with this?
Just FernGully because we talked about it.
FernGully, absolutely. Wow, I wonder if that's even that one might not even be streaming anymore. Finding Nemo and Luca are obviously on Disney Plus. Ponyo is streaming on the HBO Max app. And if you can find FernGully, I would definitely jump that to the front of the line. Um, y'all, FernGully is on Hulu right now. That is shocking. I have not seen that movie in probably 25 years. So I know what I'm doing tonight. I think I think I'm gonna go home and watch FernGully. Holy shit.
I still have my projector set up too.
Ooh, oh my god. You want to talk connecting with your childhood self.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I'm gonna fall asleep.
We should do an episode on FernGully.
We should.
Yeah, we'll probably do that.
Yeah.
So
oh my god, that would heal my little heart.
next week's episode is going to be a complete tone shift, I fear. How do I tease it without being like, oh, it's going to be a bummer? Next week's episode is gonna fucking suck. No, next week's
Gonna
episode
fucking suck.
I'm really excited for next week's episode. It's going to be a bummer.
It's going to be sad.
Next week's episode is going to be really intense. But I do think that we've touched on a lot of similar themes actually, as far as environmental impact and stripping people from their natural habitats in order to fund capitalism. So next week's episode will be totally different, but we're going to cover Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. So it'll definitely be a different vibe, but it'll be very revelatory. I think Lindsay did a lot of really good research on that episode, and she has a lot to say about environmentalism and horticulture and how it relates to womanhood and violence and greed in this country. So next week will be Killers of the Flower Moon by Martin Scorsese. Thank you for listening to this episode. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Letterboxd, and you can also email us at postfilmclaritypod@gmail.com.
Please email us. It would be
Yeah.
a dream.
I know. Send us some emails, unless they're mean. You know the rules. We discussed this in the first episode.
Yeah,
If you're
we'll
mean,
expose you.
we will expose you. Also, we're getting a lot of shitty comments on TikTok.
That backfired so much. I just think it speaks wonders how, like, the bit was supposed to be me, but then everyone. Come on.
Yeah, we've got some racist comments on our TikTok. I fear the wrong crowd has discovered us on TikTok. So if you could, anyone who has a TikTok, follow us and leave us some not racist comments, that would be super cool. We would love that. But yeah, so follow us at Post Film Clarity Pod, all one word, on all platforms that I just listed, except for Letterboxd, where we are just Post Film Clarity, all one word. If you want to reach out, again, with like not racist messages, that would be postfilmclaritypod@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Marquita.
Sometimes we could do I'm Marquita and then you say I'm Lindsay.
We're not going to do that. And this has been Damn it! And this has been Post Film Clarity. Bye, honeys.